Hey guys, Xeno back here. We're going to continue evaluating Mega Man 5, just as I've been doing. Last time I wrapped up the Robot Master stages. This time we're going to be looking at the Fortress. Let's just get right into it. So, Mega Man 5, like Mega Man 4 before it and Mega Man 6 after it, has two sets of fortresses. There's the first fortress. In this game, it's the fake Proto Man stages, otherwise known as Dark Man. And the castle graphic you just saw, it looks pretty good. I think it's a good piece of sprite work. And as for the actual stages, I'll be getting into it in a moment here. Similar problems plague these stages that, compared to those that plague the rest of the game. It's kind of boring level design. This first segment is just another enemy hallway. Mega Man 5 has a lot more of these rooms than I initially realized. I've actually come to realize, how bland the level design is at some points that I never really realized before. But yeah, generic enemy hallway is really not one of my favorite level design pieces. This room is a bit weird. You have to jump and get back on this platform to make this thing fall without getting hit. And right here is some required rush coil usage. No problem with that, really. Some energy. And then, pretty sure this section is just another freaking enemy hallway. Yeah, more of these things from Charge Man stage. You can use Super Arrow here, but I recommend using Rush Jet. Makes things a little easier. Feels like a lot of this geometry is just randomly placed, and there's not really any theme here besides, like, outside the castle, I guess, but that's kind of generic. There are no new enemies either. I don't think there are any new enemies in the entire fortress that we haven't already seen, which is a little disappointing. But I like the background here, and I like the palette of the stage. At least the graphics are pretty nice, even if the design is lacking. Which I think is something I've said about this game several times already. I think this thing is weak to gyro. Yeah, it is. That's 4 hits. That's not bad. And now for the only 2 appearances of Yoku blocks in this entire game. These 2 rooms. These puzzles are much more forgiving than your usual Yoku block puzzles. So that one, not too bad. This one can be skipped entirely with Rush Coil, which I recommend doing because it's a lot faster. Then just kind of more random bullshit with like energy here. And then these enemies, which literally only appear in this single room. So I guess I was wrong about the no new enemies thing, but these enemies barely do anything here, so they're kind of pointless anyways. They just circle you, and I think the only way you get hit by them is if their pathfinding glitches out like you just saw, and they don't circle around you for some reason. And I think they're supposed to block your shots, but really it doesn't matter at all. Very strange again, with these one-time use mechanics. So now for the bosses. The Dark Men. This is Dark Man 1, and then the other ones after it are Dark Man 2, 3, 4, you get the point. So this one just moves around and shoots, and you'll see as I damage him that he gets progressively faster. He's weak to the water wave. I forget if it eats his bullets or not. No, it looks like it doesn't. That's pretty bad. I think I'm gonna die. Alright, I wasted too much time running my mouth about Dark Man. But anyways, he's faster now. And every time you shoot him, he tries to shoot you. You can also just charge buster him. It's Mega Man 5, never any difficulty charge bustering enemies. And that's that. Kind of a bland boss, but it's nothing compared to what you're about to see in the next stage here. Pretty good music too. Not only for the stage selection here, but the Proto Man Castle theme is really good. Probably actually one of the best pieces of music in this game. It's sick. I'm gonna use an M-Tank because there's an M-Tank up here that I actually never knew about until one of my later playthroughs of the game, because, you see, I never really find the need to use M-Tanks, so I never knew that there was one here because I already had one on me all the time. But anyways, yeah, there's an invisible floor here. You could just, well, alright, there we go. If Rush doesn't glitch out for you. And you land back on these gyres, which is just great. Can you kick through these? Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Niche uses. For some reason, more required Rush Coil or Super Arrow use, which is a little pointless. Not sure why that was necessary. These things are weak to Crystal Eye. These, floating things. They're called Pucapellis, I think. But anyways, yeah, Crystal Eye kills them in one hit. Not a bad use for them. Then, the, classic MM5 design trope of enemy hallway. Again, for the 500th time. Really, really boring. This stage is probably my least favorite of the first Fortress. It's really bland to me, and extremely unmemorable. And if you fall down, you just freaking die, as you can see up there. This room can be a little tricky because of the conveyor belts, but it's not too bad. You have to constantly be firing to get rid of those enemies. The background in that section is pretty good too. This room though, just kind of a waste of time if you wait for the Crystal Joes, and not really necessary. Just random enemy hallway again. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to repeat that exact same phrase, but that's all that was. It's like, unfortunately, the devs of this game seem to have run out of creative ideas at some point, because all this geometry feels so arbitrary. There's not really any purpose to so much of this. That E-Tank grab is pretty tricky. If you don't press left at exactly the right... Oh my, there's no checkpoint. Well, that's a bit disappointing. That felt like pretty far in the stage, too. Actually, I don't know how long it's been since I died there, so I guess maybe I never realized how infrequent the checkpoints are. That's pretty bad, though. I probably would have added a checkpoint somewhere. Well, actually, I guess if it's only this room with the conveyors, the checkpoint was probably on the next screen. I'm calling it now. If you don't shoot these things, you'll end up in a kind of precarious situation like you just saw there, where it was hovering right next to me. And we're back. Alright, I managed to grab that life without killing myself the same way I did last time. And then the stage just kind of keeps going. There's a life here for almost no reason. This screen is super barren. There are a lot of weird rooms like this, I swear. And I think this is the first time I'm noticing this, but the background here looks like the same as part of the background in Commando Man stage, which I never actually realized. That's interesting. Then this. Just a bunch of enemies in a row. Very riveting. I think I probably could have not talked for this entire stage and still, you know, gone over every exciting thing, because there is absolutely zero of them. I think this might be objectively one of the worst stages in this game design-wise, not just one of my personal least favorites. Probably objectively one of the worst stages. It really just felt like a waste of time. Some gimmicks added in there definitely would have made that a lot better, but if you have none, then what's the point? This guy, is a genius boss. The extremely creative people who made this gave him the riveting pattern of move back and forth and do nothing else. So basically, Goomba AI. He gets faster the lower his health, but this is all it does. Just walk back and forth. I guess since I don't have anything to say about this boss, I can mention that all the bosses in this game are also weak to beat, but you want him for Darkman 4, because he makes that fight much easier. And that was the most boring stage of Mega Man 5. This upcoming third stage is probably the best of this first set. It introduces an actually interesting gimmick, which you'll see in a moment. And I really like the graphics here. The golden bricks and everything has always been a very memorable aesthetic to me, especially compared to everything else. But this first section, just enemy hallway. Really noticing a pattern here. Also, these Joes are a pain in the ass. Energy. Yeah, I'll refill my empty crystal eye. More of these falling things. Take him out with gyro attack. Pretty convenient. Super arrow is useful for a later part of this stage, so I'm gonna use rush coil instead. There's some pretty fun shenanigans you can have with coil, which I'll be showing off if I can. I might end up dying from them accidentally, but... And these platforms. So you can see, you know, the elements of a successful stage here. Gimmicks, not just empty hallways with enemies or items placed haphazardly. Good graphics, always a plus. This part, I think, is another enemy hallway, although it's a little slightly more interesting. Yeah, this part is pretty sleepy. Although there's some good precision platforming going on. Yeah. And then more forced coil usage for really no reason. Unless I'm missing something, there's really no reason why this blue thing on the left couldn't have been a little lower. It was really unnecessary. Alright, here we go. Snake blocks. They're really glitchy. If you try and stand on the front of them, you'll probably get shunted to somewhere where you shouldn't be. But they are fun, and they are at least new. So I'll give them a pass. Alright, let's fly over the whole... Whoa. That, I have never seen that before. Anyways, as I was saying, let's fly over the whole stage. That's what you can do with Super Arrow. Uh-oh. I always thought those holes in the spikes over there were for some sort of secret, but it's just the snake block path, in case that also piqued your curiosity. This is a pretty bad spot for one of these power muscler guys. If they weren't weak to gyro attack, that would be a lot worse. And it's still pretty bad if you don't have any ammo left. But it's not the worst thing in the world. And then, unfortunately, after that pretty interesting segment, we get another enemy hallway. It definitely feels like, at its worst moments, these enemies are just placed to waste your time, which is really sad. And this E-Tank is completely free. That's kind of a bad position for it, because it serves no purpose. Then more snake blocks. I should probably stop using gyro attacks, it's the weakness of the boss. I'll use Star Crash instead. Keep keep getting ammo. I should probably build gyro attack the next time I get in. Yeah, you see I got shunted up there by the snake blocks. So they are a little glitchy. That stage, though, a big step up overall. Some actual gimmicks. Some actual things going on in parts of it. Darkman 3 is a little more complicated than Darkman 1, and, you know, much more advanced compared to Darkman 2. What he'll do is he'll jump in the air, fire these shots, and then fire these freezing rings, which freeze you in place. I'm pretty sure the freezing rings are tied to you being close to him. Let's see if I can show that off. It's if you jump over them. The timing is pretty strict, but if you can jump over them, there's some shenanigans you can do. I'd also like to show off an interesting property of charge kick related to this fight. The weakness is supposed to be gyro attack, and as you can see it did 2 damage, but if you can get yourself frozen while charge kicking, then you can do this. You'll be invincible and still dealing damage to him, so it's considered an alternate way of doing this fight. And this is pretty interesting, actually. You know, that's really cool. Unfortunately, you end up getting damaged most of the time, so it's not always helpful, but it works sometimes. Yeah, trying to evaluate boss patterns and playing at the same time is not usually a good combination. But that boss is a lot better than the previous one. So that level gets a pass from me. And now it's time for the big bad final Proto Man Fortress stage. To entertain the story for those who haven't played this, it's encountering Proto Man, not understanding why he would kidnap Dr. Light in the opening. So some story significance. Probably the most interesting plot. I don't know if I like it more than Mega Man 4's plot, but I think it's a pretty interesting idea. Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna crush myself. Oh, I neglected to explain how this works. You destroy these blocks, basically, and the level falls down, which is an interesting set piece, but it doesn't really count as a level, because this section lasts for a minute at the most. So, not really a stage so much as an interactive cutscene, I guess. But, you can kill yourself on the spikes, like I almost showed. Now time for the story bit. I like how the whistle is off-tune to signify that it's fake Proto Man. That's pretty clever. Then out of nowhere, the real one comes to save us. And the fight begins properly. That L tank. Not really sure what L is supposed to stand for. Maybe light, but it functions the same as an E tank, so nothing unique there. So like I said, you want beat for Darkman 4. It kind of trivializes him as long as you don't get hit too many times. And Darkman 4 himself is kind of a combination of the other Darkman. He's gonna die before I have to explain. Anyways, Darkman 4 has the properties of the previous Darkman. He uses the walls from Darkman 2. He fires them off like you just saw. He has the 3 shots like Darkman 1, and he can jump around. Without being kind of a difficult fight, dodging those 3 shots he fires is especially a little difficult, but it's pretty good overall. It's entertaining, it's exhilarating, it's good. So now more of the story stuff. So blah blah blah. That was a fake Proto Man. Wily was behind it all. Big surprise. And now it's time for the Wily stages. And I think that's where I'll leave off for now. We'll get to this next time. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time to tackle the Wily Fortress.